Hey everyone, and welcome back to the X-Ring. Big shout out to everybody that watches the channel. Couldn't do it without you guys, and I do appreciate you guys watching the content that I do put out there. But it's summertime, it is time to get away from PRS rimfire. Had fun with it, it's been a great season. I'll still shoot some matches now and then, but I think it's time to get on to centerfire stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk tonight about this weekend's match coming up May the 8th at Gryphon Group Security Solutions. It is the Night Vision Championships. It's just outside of Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's not too late to sign up. If you want to go ahead and sign up, they have a white light division as well as a night vision division as well as a pistol carbine division. So if you've got your favorite, 9mm PCC and you just want to shoot the whole thing with just that, you could do that. So what we're going to do is just go over the equipment that I'm going to be using. Very quick setup. It's going to be somewhat of a quick video, I think, but everything you're going to need to know to be able to shoot a night match. Stay tuned. All right, so first off, let's talk about lights. What kind of lights you're going to have. So if you're just going to shoot the white light division, maybe you don't have a set of nods or anything like that, then what you can do is just do it with a light mounted on your rifle and one on your pistol. It is a two-gun match. So my choice for most night stuff for lights are going to be Surefire or Streamlights. However, I do use Surefire quite a bit. Big shout out to those guys. And this is a Surefire here, and this is actually for my rifle. This is the M93 mount, and I think this is the KM3 head on it. Okay, you'll see that it has a white light mode. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of flash it off to the side so you can see that. And then on the camera, you're going to be able to see it, but you can't see it with your naked eyes. You have the IR mode. So basically, you just lift this and rotate it around, and then now it's in the IR mode. You're going to be able to see it because of the camera. You might be able to see a little bit. You see that red right there? That is going to be the IR illuminator. So we're just talking about white light right now. The biggest thing about a white light is you do want a good beam, but you don't want something too bright. Brighter is not always better, because what's going to happen is if it's pitch black out and you turn on your light, what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing all of the smoke that's coming out of your muzzle, and you're going to have to start sidestepping and moving if it's too bright, because a really bright light will reflect off of that smoke. Just think of it like your vehicle. You're out driving and you get some fog, you put on the high beams, you can't see anything, it's reflecting off the fog, and the low beams do a better job of penetrating through there, so you'll be able to see your targets better. So this one has a straight 1913 rail. You can put it on the side rails and basically it clicks over. You can plug in your pressure pad switch here, so that way you're not having to reach up with your thumb and press it. However you do it, it's up to you. I'm not a huge fan of pressure switches, but whatever way works for you. So I'll show you how I'm going to mount this up, and then let's talk about the pistol light. So on the pistol light, I'm using the Surefire, the X300V, and it is just like the rifle light. I have white light that I can press down on, and right now it's in the IR mode. You should be able to see a little bit of red come on there. There it is. Like I said, you can't see that with your naked eye. And then what I've got to do is I can rotate the bezel here. You're basically going to pull and rotate, and now I have white light, just like that. Okay, so plenty good enough. What's nice about this light is you can do a constant on. You guys can see it here, and I'm not muzzling myself, and doesn't matter. It's empty. I've already checked it, so there you go. Make you happy. All right, so now if I press forwards, what will happen is I can have an instant, okay? So instant on and off, and you can do that off of either side, okay? Now, flicking up or down is not going to matter. It's going to be a constant on. It's not going to be like on some of the lights where you can press down and it releases and comes back on. If you want the momentary, you just press forwards, release, press forwards, release. You can also do that with a thumb, depending on your grip, and you can check it and do like that if you're trying to do light management. So as far as white light division, that's all you need is you need some type of pistol. This is a Glock 34. It's a Gen 5. I'll be shooting that for the match, and my choice is still the Aimpoint Acro. Love it or hate it, it doesn't matter. This is a great option for night vision. I have a really clear dot when I use it. I don't have to worry about anything blocking the emitters because they're sealed. You're going to start seeing a lot more and more of that, I believe. It does have the suppressor height sight so that I can co-witness it through the red dot if I ever lose my dot. Okay, let's say the battery goes dead. These don't have the best battery life, but other than that, it's pretty much stock. It's had some stipple work and stuff done on it, but that's pretty much it. So what I'm gonna do is, let me show you how my rifle's set up and we'll get to that. Stay tuned. All right, so for the Recon Sniper Foundation match that I ran in October last year, I was running a SCAR 16 CQC machine gun. Not gonna be running machine gun. They're not gonna let you run them at most places. But what I've got here is I've got a Veltor. So this, if you guys know what they are, a little harder to come by, but the Veltor build, upper and lower. And basically I've got the American Defense handguard, works well. This does have a Noveske. The Afghan barrel works really, really well. I'm not a huge fan of adjustable gas blocks. I'll go ahead and tell you that. I like to run full gas, less chance of having any issues or anything. I am running a PEC on here, and there's that weapon light. Okay, so for me, I can still reach it. When I'm shooting, I can still reach it with the thumb if I choose not to use a pressure switch. And then this is the Surefire, the RC2. I do have the Thunder Beast Dominus, and I thought about running it, but because this one is attached to this already, I didn't want to have to go ahead and take off the War Comp. So it's a Surefire RC2. It's a great suppressor, a little loud, but built like a tank. And it's just a quick on, quick off. These suppressor covers, I'm finding myself liking these more. These are made by a company called Weka, W-E-K-A, and I think it's out of Finland or somewhere. And they're not the first ones to do this. It's called the MOA Stealth, but basically it's this rubber material that has a little bit of venting around it. It's just, a lot of times you're running these shorter guns like the SBRs and whatnot, the gas block will actually start to fray and melt the other ones, the normal cloth suppressor covers. So that's the setup that I'm running. I'm running the aim point. This is the M68 CCO. Works well, okay? Uses standard batteries. I don't need anything fancy. I am running backup irons. These are the Knights Armament. You guys might recognize these sights here. These work really, really well. Works super. Running the Raptor charging handle. The Noveske, it does have the Geisley trigger. This is the 3-gun trigger. Works well. You know, for doing this type of stuff, it's going to be great. So now let's talk about zeros. I know I'm a little long-winded here, but before we get into actually shooting and doing some zeros, first thing we need to talk about is that helmet, because if you're going to be shooting night vision, you're going to have to have some way to put your duals on there. Maybe you've got quads or something. Stand by. All right, guys. So my helmet setup is pretty simple. It's just a Team Wendy helmet. This is the carbon. They have them in the plastics where you're looking at about 300-ish or so. You do want the counterbalance weights, and basically, guys, what this does is it counterbalances the weight of the nods on the front, so it doesn't really wear your neck muscles out, because after a full day it will wear you out. So you do want these on here. When you pick it up, it's a lot heavier than you think it would be, but it works well. It's got a ratchet system within the helmet. And then the best mount out there, guys, is going to be the Wilcox. And this is the Wilcox. I believe it's the G44 if I'm not mistaken, and it's fully adjustable for everything you need. It's got the breakaway function, and if you do that, you're good. You're set up. You don't need any more for shooting night vision and using night vision and shooting at night and doing it very well. So what you're going to want to do is using the little rhino mount, or the bayonet's not the best. So here's the dovetail. I think this is the G11 by Wilcox. It's better than that freebie arm because the dovetail mitigates a lot of the movement. So basically it just slides in here. That's it, done. She's locked in, and when you need it, there it is, ready to go, good to go. We're not gonna wear the helmet today. What we're gonna do is just zero the rifles out. I'll tell you, the rifle and the pistol, the easiest way to do this. I had considered shooting the SIG M18. I've never done the review on it. Let me grab it, stand by for just a moment. Boom, there it is. So this is the SIG P320, this is the M18. So a little smaller, a little more compact. It does have the safety on here. Not a huge fan of the safety. I do have the Delta Point and the Delta Point Pro, and I do have the backup irons that mount directly into the dovetail here. This is a great optic. I do have the suppressor height sight. I just haven't put it on yet, and this is not the light to be running. This was just one that I had on here. I was going to run this weekend at the match, and I decided against it, even though I've got plenty of rounds. This holds 21 here. This is a great pistol, but it's very, very accurate. But it's not as accurate as the Glock 34. You've got the longer barrel on it, you've got the longer sight radius, which really doesn't matter with the dot, but if I were shooting the irons, that longer sight radius is just gonna make it a little bit better. So what I've done is I've got some targets out here. We're gonna start off at about 20 yards. I'll check the zero on the pistol at about 20 yards. That's where I like to zero my pistols, is 20 to 25 yards. It's not gonna get much worse at 5 yards or 10 yards. I don't like to do it up close because I can't really see if it's left or right when I get to distance. And a lot of these matches, you're gonna be shooting these steels like this, and this steel is not that large. Let's go ahead and walk up here. I want you to see the size of this steel. It's a great size to practice with. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, so a lot of people, when they're reviewing and they're shooting guns and all that, they're using these huge monster steels. That's not gonna make you any better of a shooter, okay? This target is, you guys can see, that's about 10 inches, okay? I just painted this, so I don't get paint all over my finger. It's about 10 inches wide, and on the height, I think it's about 18 inches tall all the way to the top. But this is typically what I train with, is this size target. It's a good center mass hit without having a full-size body target or anything like that. I want to be able to see it. I'll put a camera here so you guys can see it. And then here we're using a standard red field target, no impacts. So first thing we'll do is we'll go to 20 yards. We'll shoot the Glock 34. We'll check the dot. I'll make sure it's co-witnessing with my irons. Let's see how it does. Before we do that, let's talk about how we're going to carry all this stuff. So I'm not going to run a plate carrier. There's no reason for me to have a plate carrier. It's a fun competition. I'm not getting shot at. I don't need to run a plate carrier. You guys might say, well, you need to practice like you train like you practice, or train like you want to do it. But all you're going to need, this is a competition, that's all it is. All you're going to need is a Velcro style belt. You can get these at like Safariland or whatever. I've had this one a long time, but basically it's got Velcro on the whole outer edge, and the inside is just webbing. And so all you do is you're just gonna wear this, and guys, here's a hint. You wanna wear it a little tighter, like snug, than you would normally wear a belt. And the reason is, just go ahead and suck it in. You just want this to be really tight up against you. I can actually feel it on my hip flexors right now, and that's what I want, because I want it to have less movement. So next we're gonna go with a G-code. It's not a battle belt, but it'll do everything you need it to do, and it's really lightweight. I don't need that extra pad. Very simple belt by G-code, okay? You have your Cobra buckle on the front, and what you've got now is I've just got some, like some G-code. They sell all these. You can get these from HGSI, all these other ones are HSGI. But what you've got are all these little spots to be able to attach gear with. So if you've got mollies, you can just slide them in, out, clip these in, same thing, just feed them through. And you don't need that much. You don't need 50 magazines with you, okay? We're not going to war here, we're just doing a competition. So I'll carry 2 full mags, 1 in my pistol, I'll have 1 in my back pocket. So a total of 3 pistol mags. That's more than you're gonna need on a stage. And probably 2 AR mags, that's 60 rounds, and I don't see anyone doing any matches right now where you're gonna go through 60 rounds on one stage. So what happens with this is this Velcro, this is open hook Velcro on this side. This will actually stick to the outer portion of this belt. You also have the G-code, the RTS wheel. You'll notice that I have it just slightly canted. Now the holster that I'm using for this is one, hold on. Guys, when you start getting into pistols with weapon lights, you're gonna have a hard time finding holsters, okay? You're gonna have to have them custom made, or someone that's in the Kydex business to do it for you. And what you want is you want good retention. Now I like a hood, positive retention on my stuff, and I usually run G-code, but I don't have a G-code for the G34 with the Surefire light. So this is made by Chaos Concealment. Big shout out to those guys, but I am running the G-code, the RTS mounting plate. So this does lock in on the light, okay? It has good positive retention. I mean, I can jump around and everything, but still, I'm gonna put my hand on that pistol while I'm running. Left hand will be holding the front end of the AR, and it's a good way to get from one location to the other. Of course, I don't have my right hand on the AR grip, but I also don't want to get DQ'd from this popping out. I've seen it too many times. That's why I do like positive retention, but clearing this acro can be a little bit of a chore. Either way, this is what I'll be running. On this RTS wheel, the way this works is these go together and slides in. Once it slides in, you have this tab here. You're gonna watch that tab pop out of that side. That's it, she's done. It's locked in, it's not going anywhere, and you can change your angle here. So I always start with your pistol, and what you want to do is put it exactly where you need it on your hip, and then you're going to wrap the belt around. Let me go ahead and change this angle so you guys can see it. So now it's placed where I need it. I go ahead and get my Cobra buckle snapped in and do whatever you want with the tail. I'll usually use what they call a belt keeper. Let me grab that. And guys, it doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't matter what color it is as long as it works, okay? I'm not all about the looking the part. What you want to do is you want to take this belt keeper and go behind the actual Velcro belt that you have through your loops. And you're just going to button those in. It's always a good idea to also put one behind the pistol. That way this all stays together, okay? So now when you need it, you're not, basically, if I didn't have this, if you had a lot of retention, you're going to pull this up and over and your belt's going to slide around. The belt keeper will keep this all together and nice and tidy. And they're pretty cheap. You can get them for about $3 or $4. So now that I have that attached, when I need the pistol, she's good to go. Good presentation with it, that's it. So let's go ahead and get this Glock 34 on this red field target, dead center at 20 yards. All right guys, so we're exactly at 20 yards right now, and what we've got is that red field target here, and I've got a steel here. What we're gonna do is go ahead and check our zero, and big shout out to Defender Ammunition Company. You guys know all about Defender in Rayford, North Carolina. Super supporters of the channel. Can't say enough good stuff about Chrissy and Haywood over there. They've always sponsored and helped the channel out, especially with the ammunition needs, especially how hard it is to get ammunition right now. So what we're gonna do is load about 5 or 6 rounds, check it on the red field to make sure that we're somewhat close. I'm not looking for pinpoint accuracy here, but what I'm looking for is being able to at least hold that diamond there in the center. We're also gonna shoot that steel. Make sure you have eye protection on, especially when you shoot steel regardless. And here we go. So basically I just wanna hold that center diamond. We have the GoPro going down there. And here we go. Okay, so close, probably need to come up just a hair, but I don't think I'm gonna mess with it. The steel there, let's go ahead and check it. We'll just go from here, if I can get a couple hits on it. 3, 2, 1, go. So it is shooting a little bit right. Might need to adjust that, but probably good enough. Elevation's perfect. Just lost one off to that right side just a hair. Now let's go ahead and try to shoot this spinner. Worst case scenario, I see a spinner like that. We're gonna go to about 15 yards for that one. Let me load up about 12 rounds. That's a really heavy spinner. It's really made for a rifle, and let's see if we can spin that sucker. All right, if you've never shot a spinner, what I like to do is try to shoot 2 at the bottom. Go ahead and get that momentum going away from you, and then shoot 1 at the top. Like I said, this is very tough. Let's see how many shots that it takes, and maybe you'll learn something from this. All right, so here we go, 15 yards. You want to get as square up as you can with the target. Try not to get in an angle. That way you're getting all the energy there. And guys, you always want to hit it when it's perpendicular, just like that. So you're getting all that energy. You don't want to hit it like this, because now that energy is going to be deflected, and I'm not going to get a lot of leverage on this plate here, okay? So here we go. See if you guys will be able to see that. And go. So 2 at the bottom. 1 at the top, patient, wait, bottom, wait for the top, missed it, bottom, wait, top, wait for it. You don't need to shoot the bottom one again, and then you don't shoot again, because I knew it was gonna go, and the thing is, if it's just something that stops the clock, taking that extra shot is going to add another 3 or 4 seconds. If you know that it's gonna rotate, stop. Don't just keep chasing it. Which is what I see a lot of guys do. I don't know how many total rounds that was. Let's see, it was 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 miss was 8. So 8 rounds to spin it, that's pretty good. We can do it a little faster if we wanted to, but of course, I don't need to miss it. Let's try it one more time. All right, so I haven't repainted it. We still have the GoPro going. I'm loaded back up. And what we wanna do is, this time we're not gonna worry about our ammunition, okay? I'm not trying to do it in the least amount. I wanna do it as fast as I can. So what we'll do is we'll try to double tap everything, or maybe triple tap the bottom and then up at the top. We'll see how it goes, all right? So this is what you'd want to do if you're not worried about conserving ammunition, which we should be right now. And 3, 2, 1, go. and boom, done. So that's probably the quickest way, is running a double triple tap, but you'll never miss fast enough. Make sure you're getting good solid hits. Now let's talk about the rifle. All right, in case the GoPro didn't come out, what you're gonna see is it's 5 shots here, and there's just a little low. Favored a little low and favored a little bit right. So when I shot the steel here, I pulled one off to the right-hand side, but elevation was good. And then, you know, no questions or no problems with the spinner. You guys saw it spin. All of these, I always try to favor low rather than high on the top plate, okay? And the reason for that is if this is moving away from me, what disappears first? The top. You see that? So you got to think about how you're hitting it, because anything here counts. It's still going to spin it. Something to think about. All right, guys, so at 50 yards, what I like to do is zero all of my rifles at 50 yards, unless it has like a low power variable optic, something like that, or a scope. I'm going to zero it at 100. That way my reticle works out and everything else. But for all your dots, I always use a white piece of paper with just one black dot, something for me to aim at. Want to make sure it's somewhat close. Now, this match, I've been told that the furthest shot's going to be like 70, 80 yards. That's it. It's mostly going to be CQB. So inside of 100 yards, that 50-yard zero is going to work great. It's going to be about 2.5 inches low or high, depending on how close I am to it. Remember, if you're shooting at 7 yards or 5 yards, you got to aim up here because you're going to be about 2.5 inches low. You always got to remember that. If this was a head like this, and I wanted to hit the head with a 50-yard zero, don't aim at the head. You're going to hit him in the throat, and that'll be out of that A zone. You need to aim up here at the hairline, okay? So let's go ahead and get this thing zeroed at 50 yards. Let's see how she does. 55 grain, just full metal jack. So we're at 50 yards. You guys can still see that same setup there. It's that white paper with the black dot, the man steel, and then the double spinner. I'm at my 50-yard mark. For those that have been following the channel, that's what's left of my orange flag right there. You can barely see it, but it is 50 yards. So before I start shooting the rifle, I still have my pistol loaded. I want to make sure that I can hit that steel at 50 yards. A lot of times you'll see longer shots at some of these matches. You guys will be able to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim at the steel, nice, smooth, and it was a hair right. We know that. Everything is right. Right edge holding left edge. So based on those hits, I do need to move this over to the left. We knew that, or I could just leave it alone and just favor a little bit on the left. I think I'll go ahead and make an adjustment to it. It only takes a second to do, but I'm just going to shift it over to the left just a hair. To the rifle now, I'm not going to get crazy with this. All I'm going to do is just go to like a modified kneeling position and just go ahead and see if I can hold everything on the paper, or as close as I can to that dot. Make sure you turn your dot down so you don't have a lot of excessive blooming or anything. And as long as I can stay pretty close to that dot, then I'd probably call it good. So three shots, let's go check it out. It's good enough for what we're doing. Probably need to move this over just a little bit. Remember, we're just shooting 55 grainers, just something really quick. All right, so we added just a few clicks to the right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try to hit that little steel right there. We're at 50. And what I'm gonna do is just try to get 3 shots on it as quick as I can, or, you know, quicker, and then we'll move it back to 100. So here we go. So 3 shots at 50 yards on that little plate. It's good enough. We're going to move it back to 100. And that's all you really need to do with it. We could try to go for the spinner. And let's see here. I got like 4 rounds. That's not going to be enough to spin it. Let me go ahead and grab some ammo. All right, guys, so I loaded up 10 rounds. I've actually never tried to do this offhand at 50 yards on the spinner. So it could be interesting. Just remember, if you're going to try to double tap the bottom, you need to do it very quickly, because what you don't want to do is have it come back, start coming forwards, and you shoot it again and kill that momentum. So we're going to do it with the dot here. Yeah, this is going to be tough, but yeah, you guys can see it there. And here we go. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. And almost. That's it. She's over and over and over. So yeah, not the easiest, but I think I still have some rounds left. But she's good enough. So for the match, I'm gonna call it good. I'm gonna go back to 100, confirm it once or twice. Hopefully you learned something. Stay tuned. All right, so just turned on the GoPro. The battery's almost dead in it, but we'll go ahead and try to go 1, 2, 3, and just hit all 3 steels. We'll start with the top spinner, impact, man steel, impact, and bottom steel. Just a hair right, and that's a hit. Good enough. Now what I'm going to do is transition to pistol. I've got a couple rounds in here. Let's go ahead and see if I can hit that man steel, the small one. Hair right, hair left, and there it is. So good enough. I hope you guys enjoyed a lot. Remember, if you show up for the match, don't ever bring green tips to a steel match or anything where you're going to be shooting steel. No light armor piercing rounds or anything like that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. Just a video to put out there. Maybe you learned something. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Have a good one.